This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea. Dear listeners, now we start English language service of Voice of Korea from Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Now we present Immortal Revolutionary Paean, Song of General Kim Il-sung. Now here is the Immortal Revolutionary Paean, Song of General Kim Jong-il.
You are listening to VOK, Voice of Korea, News Now. A meeting to celebrate the 80th founding anniversary of the Glorious Workers' Party of Korea was held with splendor. A meeting to celebrate the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea was held with splendor at the Mayday Stadium in the capital city of Pyongyang on October the 9th. Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, attended the meeting. Warmly waving back to the enthusiastically cheering masses, the respected comrade Kim Jong-un extended warm congratulations to the party members and the people across the country who are greeting the October holiday. He received fragrant bouquets from lovely children. Children presented bouquets to the party and government leaders and figures of various countries and heads of delegations of different countries and the congratulatory groups of overseas compatriots on their visit to the DPRK to attend the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. And members of the Presidium of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and the leading officials of the party, government, and armed forces organs received bouquets from children. Present there on invitation were veteran cadres who had worked for a long time in important posts of the party, government, and armed forces organs. Also present there were participants in the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea, members of the relay teams carrying letters of loyalty, officials of ministries and national agencies, service personnel of the armed forces organs, officials, working people and youth and students in Pyongyang, members of the congratulatory groups and delegations of overseas compatriots, including the congratulatory groups of Koreans in Japan, the General Association of Koreans in China, and the International Social Confederation of Koreans and overseas compatriots. Present there on invitation were members of the delegations of foreign parties and governments, international democratic organizations, and organizations for the study of the Juche idea, diplomatic envoys here, families of overseas Koreans related to the anti-Japanese revolutionary struggle, and foreign guests. A ceremony of hoisting the national flag of the DPRK and the flag of the Workers' Party of Korea took place. Kim Jong-un made a commemorative speech. The respected comrade Kim Jong-un made a speech at the meeting to celebrate the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea, saying that the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea shines thanks to the immortal achievements it has made over the long years for the country and the people and for the times and history. He referred to the glorious history of the founding and revolutionary leadership of our party, which is great in its foundation and succession. The history of working for the people, the history of relying on the strength of the people, is precisely the factor behind all victory and glory our party has won, he said, adding that the 80-year history of our party can be most accurately represented only when it is based on the history of the people, the history of its energetic guidance, and the imperishable achievements it has made, can identify its secret fairly and squarely only when it is explained by the great immortal aphorism of together with the people. He said with pride that those who have brought about all the important events guaranteeing victory and success in our cause for all ages are all the people of this country, the great Korean people, including the heroic working class, agricultural workers, and intellectuals. He said, I will always cherish love for the people and not neglect my obligation of requital. I affirm my commitment to working harder to live up to their trust. I will surely turn this country into a more affluent and beautiful land and into the best socialist paradise in the world, with belief in the people supporting our party and by always becoming one in mind and body with them. He ardently called for advancing with redoubled courage and confidence, for the review of a great history which will be filled with greater glory and pride than the great 80 years which the party and the people pioneered in one mind and body and glorified with victories, and for the final accomplishments of the socialist cause, when the dreams and ideals of our people will be realized. grand mass gymnastics and artistic performance for celebrating the founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea was given with splendor. The grand mass gymnastics and artistic performance, Long Live the Workers' Party of Korea, for celebrating the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea was given with splendor at the Mayday Stadium on Thursday evening. Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, enjoyed the performance. When the respected comrade Kim Jong-un appeared in the auditorium with heads of parties and governments of different countries, enthusiastic cheers burst out. Among the audience were leading officials of the party, government, and armed forces organs, participants in the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea, members of overseas compatriots' congratulatory groups, and delegations and overseas compatriots. Present there on invitation were members of the party and government delegations of different countries, delegations of international democratic organizations and organizations for the study of the Juche idea, diplomatic envoys here, families of overseas Koreans related to the anti-Japanese revolutionary struggle, and foreign guests. Expressing satisfaction of the successful performance, Kim Jong-un extended warm congratulations to all the performers. A ceremony was held to welcome the General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam. There took place a ceremony on October 9th to welcome Tô Lâm, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam, on his state visit to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea to attend the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. The national flags of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam were seen, and the Guard of Honor of the Korean People's Army was lined up at the venue for the ceremony. Present there were Cho Yong-won, member of the Presidium of the Political Bureau and Secretary of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, and the leading officials of the party, government, and armed forces organs, Pyongyang citizens, and youth and students. Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, came to the venue for the ceremony. The respected comrade Kim Jong-un warmly greeted Comrade Tô Lâm and had a photo taken against the background of the national flags of the two countries. Tô Lâm exchanged greetings with the leading officials of the party, government, and armed forces organs of the DPRK who came to receive him. Kim Jong-un met with entourage members of the Vietnamese side and took the reviewing stand with Tô Lâm. A 21-gun salute was fired amid the playing of the national anthems of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam and the DPRK. Guided by Kim Jong-un, Tô Lâm reviewed the Guard of Honor of the Korean People's Army. There took place a march past of the Guard of Honor of the Korean People's Army. Kim Jong-un expressed pleasure of meeting Tô Lâm in Pyongyang. Tô Lâm expressed gratitude to Kim Jong-un and the Workers' Party of Korea and the people of the DPRK for cordially welcoming him with the feelings of warm community friendship. Tô Lâm warmly acknowledged the enthusiastically welcoming masses with the national flags of the two countries and flowers. The respected comrade Kim Jong-un had talks with the General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam. Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, had talks with Tô Lâm, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam, on October 9th. Warmly welcoming Comrade Tô Lâm, who visited Pyongyang with comradely friendship of the Vietnamese party and people, the respected comrade Kim Jong-un said that his visit boosts the friendly ties between the two parties and the two peoples and has significance to the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. Kim Jong-un said he is pleased that the Vietnamese government and people are making signal successes in the struggle for building a prosperous state under the leadership of the Communist Party of Vietnam. Torom extended sincere thanks to Kim Jong-un for according him a cordial reception, noting that he is very impressed by the fact that the DPRK people are making eye-opening successes in the struggle for the comprehensive rejuvenation of state by dint of self-reliance, single-mindedly united around the Workers' Party of Korea, headed by General Secretary Kim Jong-un. Torom expressed the will of the Vietnamese party, government and people to further consolidate the traditional relations of friendship with the Workers' Party of Korea and the government and people of the DPRK and develop them at a new level. At the talks, there was an open-minded exchange of views on the issues arising in positively promoting the cause of building socialism in the DPRK and Vietnam, and expanding the long-standing cooperative relations between the two parties and the two peoples as required by the times and other issues of mutual concern. The General Secretaries of the two parties expressed great satisfaction of the results of the talks. That day, Kim Jong-un hosted a reception in welcome of Torom's visit to the DPRK. There were speeches by Kim Jong-un and Torom at the reception. The respected comrade Kim Jong-un met the Premier of the State Council of the People's Republic of China. Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, met and had a friendly talk with Li Qiang, member of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China and Premier of the State Council of the People's Republic of China, who is paying an official goodwill visit to the DPRK as the head of the delegation of the party and government of the People's Republic of China on October 9th. Warmly welcoming Premier Li Qiang's visit to the DPRK, the respected comrade Kim Jong-un conveyed his heartfelt thanks to General Secretary Xi Jinping for dispatching a high-level delegation together with the prestigious art troupe to make the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea more significant and more harmonious. Kim Jong-un said that the visit to Pyongyang by Li Qiang and the Chinese party and government delegation marks an important occasion of showing the invariable support and special friendly feeling towards the Workers' Party of Korea and the government and people of the DPRK, and the will of the Chinese party, government and people to attach importance to the traditional DPRK-China friendly and cooperative relations and further develop them. Li Qiang said that the China-DPRK friendship is entering a new chapter of the development of relations under the strategic guidance of the top leaders of the two parties and the two countries, adding that it is the consistent and steadfast strategic policy of the Chinese party and government to successfully defend, consolidate and develop the China-DPRK relations. Discussed at the talk were issues arising in mutually expanding high-level visits, strategic communication, multifaceted exchange and cooperation to develop the friendly and cooperative relations, the precious asset common to the two parties and the two countries, in a wider and comprehensive way. Saying that it is the steadfast stand of the Workers' Party of Korea and the government of the DPRK to further develop the friendly and cooperative relations between the DPRK and China as required by the times, Kim Jong-un affirmed that the Workers' Party of Korea and the government and people of the DPRK, together with the Chinese Congress, would promote the more vigorous development of the DPRK-China relations in the common struggle for accomplishing the socialist cause. He hoped that the Chinese people would successfully fulfill the 14th five-year plan and achieve greater successes in the course of building a modern socialist state in an all-round way under the leadership of the Communist Party of China with General Secretary Xi Jinping as its core. Russian artists gave an art performance to celebrate the founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. An art performance was given at the Manchester Art Theatre on the afternoon of October 9th by the Russian art missions on a visit to Pyongyang on the occasion of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, enjoyed the performance. The respected comrade Kim Jong-un said that the performance would make a tangible contribution to further boosting the ever-deepening friendliness and fraternal relations between the two countries. Among the audience were Choi Sun-hee, Foreign Minister of the DPRK, Kim Yo-sung, Vice Department Director of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, officials of the Ministry of Culture and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, artists and creators of art troupes at all levels, teaching staff of art education institutions, and Pyongyang-ites. Members of the Russian embassy here also enjoyed the performance. The performance was given by Russian popular singers and artists of the Russian State Academic People's Chorus named after Pyatenitsky, the Odessa Ballet Theater named after Alla Duhova, and the Air and Space Forces Ensemble of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. A floral basket in the name of Kim Jong-un was conveyed to the performers. Kim Jong-un mounted the stage and expressed thanks to the Russian artists for their successful performance.
The respected comrade Kim Jong-un visited the Party Founding Museum and made a significant speech on the occasion of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, visited the Party Founding Museum on October the 8th on the occasion of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. The museum was also visited by members of the central leadership body of the party, including members of the Presidium of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, officials of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, and leading officials of the party committees of ministries and national institutions. When Kim Jong-un arrived at the museum, all the visitors broke into enthusiastic cheers with the pleasure of greeting him, who is ushering in the new era of comprehensive prosperity of the state, demonstrating the immortal dignity and honor of the Workers' Party of Korea with its outstanding revolutionary idea and experienced and seasoned leadership in the sacred place of the revolution where the course of founding the party was accomplished. Kim Jong-un made a significant speech. When he finished his speech, all the participants paid the greatest tribute to him, raising the thunderous cheers of hurrah out of their boundless respect for and trust in the outstanding leader of the Chuzhe Revolution, who is ushering in the great heyday of the party building in the new era and the socialist course with its profound ideological and theoretical activities and energetic leadership practice. Kim Jong-un looked around with deep emotion various places of the museum, saying that the eternity and invincibility of the vitality and the leadership of the party depend on how the noble ideas and the revolutionary nature of the party founding are preserved and glorified as the revolution is achieving victory after victory. He stressed that our party should cherish more deeply the noble sense of responsibility and mission for the destiny of the country and the people, and powerfully lead the state and the people to fresh peak of victory and glory with enthusiastic spirit and inexhaustible vitality, and without decrepitude and discoloration, maintaining its purity, even though a generation is replaced by another. He had a meaningful photo session with the officials, lecturers, and employees of the museum, expressing the belief that they would as ever remain faithful to their duty as powerful information workers and educators who are acquainting the masses with the glorious history and tradition of our party, with the pride and honor of defending the sacred place associated with the exploits of the great leader Kim Il-sung in party building. The respected comrade Kim Jong-un made a speech during his visit to the Party Founding Museum. He made a significant speech during his visit to the Party Founding Museum, expressing his feelings of visiting the old home where the ever-victorious history of the Workers' Party of Korea started, and the Supreme General Staff of the Korean Revolution, which led a great start towards a powerful socialist country, was situated ahead of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. He paid the most ennobling tribute to President Kim Il-sung and the anti-Japanese revolutionary forerunners who pioneered the original road of building a revolutionary party Party, during the bloody struggle for liberating the country, accomplished the historic course of founding the Revolutionary Party and laid a solid cornerstone for its durable existence and victorious development. Looking back upon the decades of party founding and inheritance at this special and auspicious moment of greeting its 80th anniversary at the watershed of new development and prosperity, will serve as an occasion for renewing the understanding and awareness of the revolutionary obligations and duties of our generation, who have to reach without fail the finish line of the socialist course that was started and advanced by the forerunners, he said. Noting that the 80-year history of our party is so great not only because it was founded in an original way, but also because it etched in its banner the socialist ideas of achieving the independence of masses and invariably held fast to it, he theoretically explained the journey peculiar to the Workers' Party of Korea, which has pioneered an original road of socialist construction from the first day of its founding with the Tzu idea and self-sustenance and self-determination, that is, believing in the people and relying on their strengths from A to Z, and enunciated the fundamental secret in which the Workers' Party of Korea has been able to record the longest ruling history in the history of socialist movement, the main characteristics of party building, and the prominent exploits it has recorded in the human history of political parties. Saying that the dynamic leadership and mode of struggle of the Workers' Party of Korea, which form the purest, the most powerful ideological lineage and the revolutionary tradition peculiar to it, and left the immutable truths about eternal victory and valuable spiritual assets in the course of turning adversities and trials into victory and miracles, are illuminating the road of victory and glory to be followed by the present generation and rising generation. He indicated the ideals and prospective goal of the Workers' Party of Korea in building a state and developing the party, the orientation of struggle to realize them, and overall principles in the comprehensive development period, which can be called the second era of nation building. Saying that it is a proud thing to recall the course the party has followed from one century to the next at this historic house where the party was founded, and to make a pledge to give steady continuity to the great course forever for all ages, he affirmed that the party founding museum would shine forever as the sacred sanctuary which carries on the lineage of the Workers' Party of Korea and its ever victorious tradition for all ages.
Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, received a message of greeting from Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, on October 10th. The message said, "I extend warm congratulations and beautiful wishes to you, Comrade General Secretary, the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, and all the members of the Workers' Party of Korea and other Korean people on behalf of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China and on my own behalf, on the occasion of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. Over the past 80 years, the Workers' Party of Korea has achieved proud successes by rallying and leading the Korean people while overcoming difficulties and trials, and promoting the socialist course of Korea through enterprising efforts. In recent years, Comrade General Secretary has made a positive effort to strengthen party building, develop the economy, and improve the people's living standards by leading the party and people of the DPRK. I wish the DPRK would make fresh success one after another in its socialist cause and greet the 9th Congress of the Workers' Party of Korea with victory under the firm leadership of the Workers' Party of Korea, headed by Comrade General Secretary. China and the DPRK are both socialist countries led by the Communist Party. In recent years, I and Comrade General Secretary have taken the helm of the development of the relations between the two parties and the two countries, and opened up a new chapter of China-DPRK friendship through several meetings. Some days ago, Comrade General Secretary visited China and attended the commemorations of the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. I and Communist General Secretary had deep talks and indicated the way for further developing the China-DPRK relations of friendship and cooperation. No matter how the international situation may change, it is the consistent policy of the Chinese party and government to successfully defend, consolidate, and develop China-DPRK relations. The Chinese side is ready to contribute, together with the DPRK side, to the cause of socialist construction in the two countries and make positive contributions to peace, stability, development, and prosperity of the region and the rest of the world by promoting the steady development of China-DPRK relations through strengthening of strategic communication, deepening of working-level collaboration, and close coordination and cooperation. I hope you, Communist General Secretary, enjoy good health and everything goes well. I wish the Workers' Party of Korea greater successes one after another. I hope the China-DPRK friendship will shine long. Thorum, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam, arrived in Pyongyang by his plane on the 9th to pay a state visit to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and participate in the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea at the invitation of Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea. He was greeted by Kim Song-nam, alternate member of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and director of the International Department of the Party Central Committee, and Im Chun-il, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of the DPRK. A party and government delegation of the People's Republic of China, led by Li Qiang, member of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China and Premier of the State Council of the People's Republic of China, arrived in Pyongyang on the 9th to participate in the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea and pay an official goodwill visit to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea at the invitation of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and the government of the DPRK. The delegation was greeted by Park Tae-sung, member of the Presidium of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and Premier of the Cabinet of the DPRK, and officials concerned. A ceremony was held to welcome Li Qiang. A delegation of the United Russia Party, led by President Dmitry Medvedev, arrived in Pyongyang on the 9th to visit the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and take part in the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea at the invitation of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea. The delegation was greeted by Im Chun-il, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of the DPRK. Dmitry Medvedev, president of the United Russia Party, laid a floral basket before the bronze statues of the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il on Mansu Hill on the 9th. The delegations of the Socialist Political Party for Just Russia, Patriots, Truth, the Liberal Democratic Party of Russia, and the Communist Party of the Russian Federation on a visit to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea to participate in the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea, placed floral baskets before the bronze statues of the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il on Mansu Hill and paid tribute to them on the 9th. Floral baskets were sent to the bronze statues of the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il on Mansu Hill by the director of the General Music Bureau of the Ministry of National Defense, a regional representative of the Ministry of Information, the Press and Culture, and the former Vice Minister of Oil and Mining Development of the Republic of Equatorial Guinea on the occasion of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. The floral baskets were laid before the bronze statues of the great leaders on the 9th. That day, a floral basket was placed before the bronze statues of the great leaders in the name of the chairman of the Friendship Association of Korean Nationality in Liaoyang City of China. Talks were held between Cho Yong-won, member of the Presidium of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and Secretary of the Party Central Committee, and Dmitry Medvedev, President of the United Russia Party, at the Mansu Assembly Hall on the 9th. Present at the talks from the DPRK side were Ri Hee-young, member of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and Secretary of the Party Central Committee, Kim Song-nam, alternate member of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and director of the International Department of the party's Central Committee. Yoon Jong-ho, Minister of External Economic Relations of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and other officials concerned. Present there from the Russian side were Vladimir Yakushev, Secretary of the General Council of the United Russia Party and first Vice Chairman of the Federation Council of Russia, Alexander Matsegora, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Russian Federation to the DPRK, Alexander Kozlov, Minister of Natural Resources and Ecology of the Russian Federation, and other members of the delegation of the United Russia Party. After the talks, a joint declaration was adopted on the development of relations between the Workers' Party of Korea and the United Russia Party. A joint statement of the Workers' Party of Korea and the United Russia Party was made public on the 9th. The statement said the Workers' Party of Korea and the United Russia Party jointly commemorated the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea with splendor, and continued, both sides reconfirmed their will to continuously develop relations between the two parties and two countries on a high level on the basis of the ties of friendship between the peoples of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and the Russian Federation, the comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries, and the agreement on exchange and cooperation between the Workers' Party of Korea and the United Russia Party concluded in Moscow on October 25, 2018. They expressed their intention to strengthen the contact through active dialogue between the party central organs, between regional organizations, and between activists of basic party cells so as to implement the already concluded agreements, and plan to hold some joint events such as continuously making and revitalizing the exchange of delegations, the statement noted. The Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea hosted a reception at the Kumsan State Guest House on the evening of October 9th in honor of the delegation of the United Russia Party on a visit to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Invited to the reception were Dmitry Medvedev, President of the United Russia Party, members of the delegation, and staff members of the Embassy of the Russian Federation in the DPRK. Present there were Cho Young-won, member of the Presidium of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and Secretary of the party's Central Committee, and other senior officials of the party and the government. Choi Ryong-hae, member of the Presidium of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and first Vice President of the State Affairs Commission and Chairman of the Standing Committee of the Supreme People's Assembly of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, met and had talked with the Chairman of the Socialist Political Party for Just Russia, Patriot Truth, and Chief of the Party Group of the State Duma, the Chairman of the Liberal Democratic Party of Russia and Chairman of the International Affairs Committee of the State Duma, and the Vice Chairman of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Russian Federation and first Vice Chairman of the International Affairs Committee of the State Duma, heads of the delegations of parliamentary political parties of Russia, and major members of the delegations who paid a courteous call on him at the Monthly Assembly Hall on the 9th. Choi Ryong-hae, member of the Presidium of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and first Vice President of the State Affairs Commission and Chairman of the Standing Committee of the Supreme People's Assembly of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, met and talked with the party delegation heads, delegates, and major members of different countries who paid a courteous call on him at the Monthly Assembly Hall on the 9th. They included the President of the Supreme Election Council of the Republic of Nicaragua, the National Leader of the Workers' Party of Mexico, the First Deputy General Secretary of the Democratic Party of Equatorial Guinea, the Vice Chairman of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, the National Vice Chairman of the Brazilian Communist Party, the General Secretary of the Islamic Coalition Party of Iran, a member of the Sao Paulo State Committee of the Brazilian Workers' Party, and a member of the Chamber of Deputies of the State Congress. The delegation of the United Russia Party, led by President Dmitry Medvedev, laid a wreath before the Liberation Tower on the 9th. Present on the occasion were DPRK Vice Foreign Minister Kim Jong-il and staff members of the Embassy of the Russian Federation in the DPRK. The Guard of Honor of the Korean People's Army was lined up at the Liberation Tower. The national anthems of the Russian Federation and the DPRK were played. A wreath was laid in the name of Dmitry Medvedev. The participants observed a moment of silence in memory of martyrs of the Soviet Army who fought bravely for liberation of Korea and looked around the tower. Wreaths were laid before the Liberation Tower on the 9th by the delegations of the Socialist Political Party for Just Russia, Patriot Truth, the Liberal Democratic Party of Russia, and the Communist Party of the Russian Federation on a visit to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea to participate in the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. The Guard of Honor of the Korean People's Army was lined up at the Liberation Tower. Members of the delegations observed the moment of silence in memory of the martyrs of the Soviet Army who devoted their precious lives to the sacred war for liberation of Korea and looked around the tower. Meetings took place in the provinces, cities, and counties on the 9th in celebration of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. Reports were made at the meetings attended by officials of the local party and government organs, working people's organizations, and industrial establishments and working people. Symposiums were held in the provinces and cities directly under the central authority to commemorate the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. Present there were officials of the local party and administrative organs and working people's organizations, and officials for theoretical information in the fields of education, literature and art, the press and revolutionary relics preservation, and from the party cadres training institutions. A dancing party of women's union officials and members was held at the plaza of the monument to party founding on the 9th to celebrate the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. A performance was given at the East Pyongyang Grand Theater on the 9th by the Chinese artists on a visit to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea on the occasion of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. The performance was appreciated by Zhu Chang-il and Kim Jong-sun, department directors of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, officials concerned, creators, artists, and teaching staff of the art organizations and art education institutions at all levels, and working people in the city of Pyongyang. It was also enjoyed by major members of the Shanghai Art Troupe of China, led by Sun Ye-li, Minister of Culture and Tourism of the People's Republic of China, and staff members of the Chinese Embassy in the DPRK. The International Tzu-chi Idea Seminar on the Immortal Banner for Building a Just and Peaceful World took place in Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, on the 8th and the 9th, under the co-sponsorship of the International Institute of the Tzu-chi Idea and the Korean Association of Social Scientists on the occasion of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. It was attended by Deputy Directors General of the International Institute of the Tzu-chi Idea, delegations and delegates of the Tzu-chi Idea study organizations in different countries and regions, and the delegation of Korean social scientists in Japan. Also on hand were the President of the Academy of Social Sciences, who is first Vice Chairman of the Korean Association of Social Scientists, and scientists in the field of social sciences. A letter to the respected comrade Kim Jong-un was adopted at the seminar. The Consumer Goods Exhibition Development of Light Industry 2025 opened in the capital city of Pyongyang. Its opening ceremony was held at the Hall of Light Industry of the Three Revolution Exhibition House on the 9th. Present there were Kim Do-kun, Secretary of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, officials concerned, participants in the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea, and officials, scientists, and technicians of the presenter units and units concerned. The delegation of the Sandinist National Liberation Front and the government of Nicaragua, the delegation of the Workers' Party of Mexico, the delegation of the Democratic Party of Equatorial Guinea, the delegation of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, the delegation of the Islamic Coalition Party of Iran, and delegates of Brazilian parties on a visit to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea to take part in the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea, visited Mangyeongdae, the birthplace of the great leader Kim Il-sung, on the 9th. They also visited the Korean Revolution Museum, the Central Cadre Training School of the Workers' Party of Korea, and the Mangyeongdae School Children's Palace. A delegation of the Socialist Political Party for Just Russia Patriots Truth, led by Chairman Sergei Mironov, who is chief of the party group of the State Duma. A delegation of the Liberal Democratic Party of Russia, led by Chairman Leonid Slutsky, who is chairman of the International Affairs Committee of the State Duma, and a delegation of the Communist Party of the Russian Federation, led by Vice Chairman of its Central Committee, Dmitry Novikov, who is first Vice Chairman of the International Affairs Committee of the State Duma, arrived in Pyongyang by air on the 9th to participate in the celebrations of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. Davis Karuno, director of the International Kim Il-sung Prize Council and the International Kim Jong-il Prize Council, and his party flew in Pyongyang on the 9th to participate in the 11th meeting of the International Kim Il-sung Prize Council and the 2nd meeting of the International Kim Jong-il Prize Council, to be held on the occasion of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea. And that's the end of the news. This is Voice of Korea.
Now here's female group singing and male chorus, Dear Father.
Cool.
We now bring you female chorus, Mother's Birthday.
Dear listeners, with this we conclude the English language service of Voice of Korea from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Voice of Korea presents its English language service for Southeast Asia between 5 and 6 hours UTC on 13,650 kHz and 15,105 kHz, and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,735 kHz and 13,650 kHz. For Middle East and Northern Africa between 16 and 17 hours UTC on 9,890 kHz and 11,645 kHz, and between 19 and 20 hours UTC on 9,875 kHz and 11,635 kHz. For Southern Africa between 19 and 20 hours UTC on 7,210 kHz and 11,910 kHz, and for Central and South Americas between 4 and 5 hours UTC on 11,735 kHz, 13,760 kHz, and 15,180 kHz, and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,710 kHz and 15,180 kHz. Goodbye, this is Pyongyang.